Hi everybody. So in this session we will learn about the multipass rendering inside Maya 2018. So let's get started. As you can see, we have just selected this model and we will do the multipass rendering inside Maya. So at first I will turn off my grid. So for multipass rendering you have to just make sure that you have a light, and so at first just go to the render settings, and here you can see render using Arnold. So I'm using Arnold right now. So what I will do, I'll just make a simple light which is a skydome light. As you can see, it's just formed here. And one more thing we have to do, I will just hide this light for a time, and control H for hiding, and shift H for yeah, calling the hided object, that means unhide any particular one. So at first you can see we have a camera here. So I will just go to the panel, perspective and render camera. So I will set this view here and just go to this view, press spacebar, right mouse button, go to the perspective. So in the next tab we have the camera view, and in this tab we have the perspective view. And now we'll focus in this view. So what I will do, I will just make the interior different with different textures and shaders. So at first I will just select one by one and just press F to focus that part only. Okay, now we have this wet sheet. Right click, assign new material, and we'll use the Arnold. So I'm using Arnold AI standard surface. So after that we'll go to attribute. Here you have the Arnold AI standard surface, and so you can see there is a lots of more junk which is forming here. It's all the history. So at first what I will do, just select that particular object. Okay, now edit, delete by type history, so it will erase all the junk history. Okay, so I will just select the bed sheet at first, press F to focus that particular part, and after that we'll zoom out a little bit and we'll see it. As you can see it here. And now right click, assign new material, and we'll first open the attribute editor, and we'll use the AI standard surface. So we have AI standard surface here, and we'll change the color to I think lighter blue, and we'll use this particular material, but we'll change the color, and we'll change the color to a little bit of lighter blue. So we'll select all of them by holding shift button. Okay, and assign new material. So I'm just using this particular one. Okay, so as you know that you have different materials, you can also use that particular material. So I'm using only that particular one. We'll select this, all of them, by holding shift button. And so for that particular I will press 4 so that we have a better view. I'm in wireframe mode. So I've selected all the cupboards. Right click, assign new material, and a center surface will change the color to lighter brown, somehow like this. And after that we'll change the color of the wall. We'll select this part, press 5 again. As you can see, we have selected the wall, and right click, assign new material, same. So I'm just using this one. You can change your material, and so if I just copy tab, and that same tab will appear here. And as you can see, you can just drag this to have a better view. So you have the metalness which is 0. Okay, fine. Weight will just increase its brightness and contrast. So okay, rest thing is fine, we'll don't have to change it. And you can also modify according to your need, but right now we will focus on the multipass rendering. Okay, so that's a simple setup, and we'll select this part, assign new material, same. AI standard surface will change the color to somehow darker, little bit of darker as compared to this one, and select this part, press F, select all of them, assign new material, So that's a simple scene. Okay, we'll select this one, select something more, leave it, no problem. We'll go to a standard surface, just okay. So we have this final thing, which is the bed part surface, and we'll just little bit of this color. So we have this scene, and right now, as you can see, we'll select all of them and just go to window and outliner. Make sure that you will just put in one layer, and we have just hided this one, so we will just select this shift H to unhide it. And now what happens next, we'll go to the render settings. Arnold is there, okay, no problem, common. So in preset we have HD, so at first I will just go to 640 480 for the examine purpose. So at first I will examine it. Okay, now what happens, see, if you are working in the multipass rendering, you don't have to disturb the camera, because if the camera is been disturbed, then if you are going to the compositing software, then all the things will be disturbed. That means you don't have to disturb the camera will be in its position. Okay, so that means whatever you want to render in multipass rendering, that means ambient occlusion, diffuse, beauty pass, and reflection, refraction, shadow, and all, you just have to just render it in one camera. And even if you have two or three camera, you don't have to displace the camera, because each and every render sequence should follow that particular camera without have any prior changes after when you getting the rendering. Okay, so that means if you are rendering in a scene, and if the camera is setting on that particular scene, so after that you don't have to change its position. So when you go to compositing software, all the things which you have rendered in 3D software will come one by one in each and every layer, and will just compact in this particular one. Okay, that means you have to change the blending mode and just have some effects also. That means combination of all the render layers in a particular scene, which is called compositing. Okay, so we will discuss this in compositing software exactly. So we have another session which is called multipass compositing, so we will look that thing in the multipass compositing session. So we have that one. Okay, so now as you can see, we have the camera which is fixed, and will not use this part at first. We'll just check is it working quite well or not. So just have a look. So as you can see, we have just set up this only this skydome light, and here you have the panels of skydome light. You can change the color, or you can even put the image, it will wrap into your skydome light. Okay, instead of having skydome light, you can also use physical sun and sky. So I'm just using skydome light. Let's have a look what's happening. So right now I think this will be fine. And for your texting, you should always go to the lower resolution, because it will take a huge amount of time. If you go to the HD 1080p or 720p, that will take a huge amount of time. So I will just select this one, 640 480, because that will too low. Okay, this is fine. And now as you can see here, you have the launch render setup window. Click here. As you can see, there is the render setup screen, which has all sorts of uh, things like this particular add a create new render and all the things which is coming here. So we'll discuss this later words. And at first, let's have a look at our model. So we are not displaying the camera. Camera will sit at its own position. Okay, that would be fine. So we'll escape it to just off the rendering, and I think we'll just select this part and we'll go to perspective. Make sure that you're saving your file. So I will save scene as desktop multipass _001. Now Okay, so what we have to do, we'll just select this part, and here we have the mesh light. Let's just click over here and just go to the attribute editor. Okay, and in attribute editor you have all the features of mesh light, so you can have the color and all. Copy tab and just look at it. Light visibility on, and intensity is 1, exposure is 1, and just have a look. So render it. Okay, now you can see the light is quite bouncing, and also we have the shadows and all which is generating here. And if I just escape this, so as you can see here, we have all the panels like node base, extra attributes and all. You can work by increasing or decreasing the value. That means you have to just follow the node which is this and this one. So one by one you can experiment the same. So okay, one more thing we have to do. You have the shadow density. Make sure that cast shadow is on. Okay, fine. And so here is the shadow density, and now what I will do, I will just make some lights. At first let's have a test render. Okay, so this would be fine. You can increase the lights, as you know, each and every light, the process of light, and also you can use this a shot of lights which is present by default. So Arnold is a third-party plugin. So right now, what else we needed? So this would be fine. You can also use the area light, kind of area light, and photometric light. Okay, light portal and all. So as you can see, here is the area light. You can use the area light here. So right now, let's start to work with the render layers. So at first, what I will do, I will just make a new folder and just make this render layers. Okay, so and we'll put all the render layers one by one. At first, just go to the render settings. See, Arnold is there. Okay, fine. Window, outliner, and okay, here is the model, and here is the light, which is sky dome light. Okay, so okay, fine, and we have this lights also, so no problem. So as you can see, we have just selected the dome light which we have created, and also we have this mesh light. So we will have the multipass rendering from starting in the next session, as you have seen that we have set up this scene. And now in next session we will understand the concept of multipass rendering from starting. Hi everybody. So in previous session we have just set up some of the textures and also this light. So in this session we will work in the multipass rendering. So for working in the multipass rendering, you should have this, which is launch render setup window, which is beside the hypershade. Okay, so just click over here. Now you have a panel. So here you can see render setup, property editor. These both are important. So right now we'll go to the outliner. We'll on outliner here, and we'll on this over here. Okay, so now as you can see, we have to just first render this scene. And so render camera is fine, and here we have the Arnold renderer. Okay, fine. So we'll select the object, which is the complete scene, and by shift selecting the light, okay, just go to the new layer, and here we have the beauty pass. Okay, so in beauty pass, right click, create collection, and in collection you got this, which is the property editor. So now add all the things, the bedroom and the sky dome light, and after that what I will do, I will just render the same. Okay, so we'll render the scene and let it be rendered. One more thing we have to do, I will just escape it and we'll go to the Arnold tab, and here you have two options, this one and this one. So as you can see, if you click here, you can have the interactive render view. So I will just pause this for a while, and what I will do, I will just click here, and after clicking here you got this panel, so you can increase or decrease the values. For now I just put the default value, so 1 is the default value. So okay, at first when you are working in Arnold, you will go to the render settings, and in render settings you have Arnold renderer. So as you can see, camera AA, which is 3, so it will produce huge amount of small points. If you increase these, now your footage which will rendered in the render setup will be smooth, and also will have bounciness of the light. So I will just increase the diffuse and some amount of specular transmission and subsurface. Okay, volume light indication will be 3, subsurface scattering will be 3. Okay, rest is fine. And one more thing we have to do, I will render in HD 540. Okay, no problem. So if you just click this part, you will get the whole panels, which is gamma exposure and all. Just click here, you will on this and just work for the same, let it be rendered for a while.